Hello, welcome to another Try Your Hand. I'm Carol, head of the Teen Services at the Antioch Public Library, and today we're going to be making a macrame plant hanger. Now you should have, if you've picked up a supply kit, a set of 4 cords. This is cotton cording that I've gotten. You can also use polyester, but we've decided to go with cotton for today. And these are 4 lengths, approximately 6 feet, 2 yards each. The first thing you're going to do is divide them in half. Once you have the middle point, you're going to take that and just loop it around and tie a knot with it. This is what the plant hanger will eventually be hanging from. It's nothing special, just a regular knot there to make your loop. You're also going to be taking this loop and hooking it on something stable. It works a lot better if you have your cording attached to something solid, so when you're tying your knots you can pull it taut. Today I'm just going to put mine on my doorknob here, and that way I can work on it and it will be nice and sturdy. Okay, so we have our loop and we have it knotted on something sturdy so we can hold it taut. The next thing we're going to do is make 4 sets of 2 cords. Just take the cords that are hanging close, go about 4 or 5 inches down and knot those cords together. Again, this isn't any kind of special knot. You do want to make them even and nice looking. You don't want them all twisted up, but go around until all the cords have been knotted, and try and make them about the same place on the cord for each of your 4 knots. If you don't like the way it looks or they're not in the right place, you can just untie them and do it again. No harm in starting over. Okay, there we have our 4 knots all in about the same place. Now you're going to take one set and we're going to do a twisted knot. This is where you need to hold it taut. So you're going to take a cord in the right hand and a cord in the left. You're going to cross the left one over the right one, loop it around and back, pull it through, and then pull that up to the knot that's in the cord. And you're going to keep on doing that with that cord. Every time you tie a knot, just make it nice and taut there. Okay, I'm just going to show you a close-up of the way that knot is made. Cord in the right hand, cord in the left. This one goes across and then wraps around. You'll be holding this in your right hand and bring that up and then tighten it, and then again just keep doing that. The cord that's on the right is always is not being tied. It's always the left cord that gets tied around the right cord. I think you can see it a little bit better on this angle. And continue on until you have 10 of those knots, and see how that just twists on the cord then. And take your time when you do this. Don't rush, because you want it looking nice and even, making sure that you're pulling them all taut and kind of scrunching them up as you go. Okay, that's 10 knots, and as you can see, I'll take this off and hold it closer. As you can see, it makes a twist in the knots, and you're going to do that on each set, all 4 sets.
A few moments later.
Okay, there. Now I'm all done. All 4 sets of cords are knotted. Now you're going to take 2 of the sets of knots and take go about 12 inches down from where the knot ends and take the 2 cords that are together and put those in a simple knot again. And then you're going to take another set of cords and take the 1 cord that wasn't tied on the previous one and take one of the cords from the new one and make it the same length as the first knot and tie a knot in those 2. Kind of compare it to where the first knot was so that you get them even. And then I'm going to drop the first 2, and you've got the 3rd set of knots here, and you're going to take this 4th set of knots and take one of the strands from that to again make a knot the same length as the other ones. Okay, now you should only have 2 loose strands, so you'll take those and tie them in a knot, comparing them where the other knots are, and then hopefully all your knots will be at the same place, which they are there. Then after that, you're going to repeat the process again. This is where you want to make sure that they all line up well. So take 2 that are next to each other, and from those knots that you had there, go down just about 3 inches and tie those in a knot. And then take the next set and tie those in a knot, keeping them the same length as the first knot. And then pull the next set of cords in. I'm always comparing it to the knots I've already tied. This knot got a little low, so I'm going to move that one up. Then I have just one more loose strand here. I'm working it so that I don't twist it up. Okay, I'm going to take this off so you can see it. So there we have our sets of cords tied together, and then we're almost done. The last thing you do is you take all the cords together and you tie those in a knot. And that's just a few inches down from the rest of the knots. Ooh. Get all my tails through there. So once you have the bottom tied, you can take your mason jar, slip it in your plant hanger, and there you are. Your mason jar macrame plant hanger. Now, what about the tail here? It's up to you what you want to do with that. You can trim we've got some longer ones here, so you can trim those off. You can also take that and just unravel it and have them unraveled on the bottom and make a tassel. So your plant hanger is done. Now we're going to go on to actually your air plant. You're given a jar with stones in it. I would suggest that you rinse those stones off and let them dry completely before you put them in your jar. They're awful dusty. And fill your jar back up with the stones. And then you got your air plant with instructions. And you simply take your air plant and place it on top of the stones. These air plants are really interesting. You don't want them to be wet, so you don't want the stones wet. You don't want the air plant to remain wet or it will rot. Once a week you will soak your plant, so submerge it completely in a bowl of water. Then when you take it out of the water. You let it sit there in the water for 20 to 30 minutes. Then you shake off the excess. And we dried the plants pretty much upside down so that the water wouldn't sink down into the leaves, because that's what will cause it to rot. So you set it upside down or on its side until you're sure that it's dry. And then you simply take it and put it in the rocks. If your air plant has roots, those roots are not to get nourishment or water. Those are only for the plant to connect itself to whatever it's growing on. So it might start to grow on your rock or something, but they're not necessary for the plant, so don't worry about that. So now you have your air plant in your rocks, and you can also put anything you want in this jar. You can put like the glass stones, the real pretty colored glass stones. If you have a shell collection, that would look really neat to have the shells in there. Whatever you want to put your plant in, just so that it's a dry surface for the plant. And then now you are ready to put it in your plant hanger. Okay, so I've got my plant hanger here, and maybe I want to put the plant in after I put it in the hanger. Just set it in the hanger and set the plant in there the way that it looks best, and voila, put it in a place where it gets a lot of light, indirect sunlight, not direct sunlight. Or if you don't have a place like that, artificial light works, but it's better to have it in natural light if you've got a place where you can get your plant in light. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this month's activity. Don't forget to sign up next month for our Try Your Hand. It will be building a butterfly house. We're having our resident expert, Rory, demonstrate that class, so he'll be giving you some woodworking tips and ideas for building your butterfly house. It should be a lot of fun, and then after it's built, you can decorate it, and we'll see you next time on Try Your Hand.
A few moments later.